This is 10 ways to build a 100K business using YouTube. And I'd like to start with a story with you today. In 2008, I was a sophomore in college doing my homework in my sorority house when I got a phone call from my mom. She called to tell me that she had been laid off after working more than 25 years with a corporation and that her and my dad could no longer financially support me through school. As a college student, I lived in a bubble. Recession? What the heck was that? So I was very overwhelmed and decided what any other smart college student would do. I walked myself all the way down to the student financial aid office, grabbed a student loan application, and said, "Where do I sign on the dotted line?" By the time that I had graduated in 2011, I had walked away with $35,000 in student loan debt and was making $10 an hour at my very first job at an advertising agency, and it was just a 3-month internship. When I finally started getting the student loan repayment notifications in the mail from the U.S. Department of Education, so official, with my name on it, saying that I owed them $230 monthly minimum payments for the next 10 years. And oh, by the way, by that time, I was back home with my parents, not living the post-grad life status at all. And I thought, is this my life? So I decided to claim financial ownership for the very first time in my adult life. During the next 2.5 years, I was working really hard to pay off that debt. And I did all of that and paid off the $35,000 in student loan debt in 2.5 years on a $37,000 income. I'm sharing this story with you today because it's the exact story that I share in this video. When I shared this video and published this on YouTube for the first time, you can actually see when I published it in February, got a couple of views. Interestingly, between September and January of that year, it went viral. My story was resonating with other millennials who were in the same boat. And it's because of this story that I was able to harness my education skills and the knowledge that I knew about personal finance at that time and turn it into a coaching business. And so that's my first tip for you today, is you can turn your YouTube channel into a one-on-one or group coaching program and leverage what you know about personal finance to help your audience. If we haven't met, hi, my name is Justine Nelson. I run the Debt Free Millennials YouTube channel and business. My channel is all about helping millennials achieve financial confidence, crush debt that leads to more fun and fewer payments. This has definitely been my life story, and because I walk the walk and talk the talk, I have my audience engaged with me. So currently, I have over 77,000 YouTube subscribers. I primarily operate my business as a content creator and money coach, and went ahead and paid off all that student loan debt in 2.5 years. Today we're going to be talking about the art of storytelling and how you can relate that to the revenue that you can earn from YouTube. And not just YouTube, there are multiple revenue streams we're going to get into. I'm also going to give you a peek behind the curtain of my real revenue streams, getting comfy on camera, giving you my tips and what I personally use to get me camera ready. And I'll leave some time for Q&A at the end. All right, so let's get into the art of storytelling. When I decided that I was going to pay off my debt, take it seriously, I was working at the advertising agency. Thankfully, that internship landed into a full-time gig of $33,000 per year. Yes. And copious free happy hours thanks to the agency. And I was driving home one icy January evening. By this point, I had moved out of my parents' home, and I got a roommate, and I was driving home late one night. I had just iced that day in Kansas City, and I was stopped at the bottom of a hill at a red light when all of a sudden I felt a jolt in my car, got out, put it in park, got out, and you can see this is a Ford Escort ZX2. Does anybody know this vehicle? The Ford, oh yeah, yes. Ford only made them, the ZX2s, like for 3 years, and then they stopped. Basically, what it is it's a go-kart with doors. So I popped out, looked around to the back of the bumper, and saw it was in shreds. Thankfully, neither me or the driver were in serious injury, except for really bad whiplash and headache. And I saw that the frame was bent, and I thought, there is no way I have enough cash to fix that. And so I was at a crossroads in my debt-free journey. I thought I could take out a car loan and extend the debt and the journey to become debt-free, or I could talk to insurance and figure out what was going to happen next. Well, insurance deemed the car totaled and offered me a cash value. They said, you can keep the car, we'll give you a salvage title, and we'll give you a cash value. I think at that time was around $3,200. The car is only worth like $1,000, so I thought, yes, big money. And I remember talking to my parents about this, and we were discussing the car loan option, and I thought, there's a better way. I think I can sacrifice this. I can sacrifice what I look like driving this vehicle because I'm on a journey that's far beyond what I drive. So I ended up learning a lot about insurance, things that I had no clue about, because what I did when I initially signed up for car insurance is I picked the same thing that my parents picked. Did anybody ever do that? I don't know what I'm doing with car insurance. What did mom and dad do? I'll sign up for that. Well, I learned a lot out of that experience, and so I made a video all about car insurance and how much you need. What are the different types of coverages, liability, comprehensive, collision, and I made a video about it. Interestingly, this video has received close to 300,000 views when I took this screenshot. It's earned me over $16,000 in ad revenue, and when I took this screenshot as I was preparing this slide, I saw that 338 people were still watching. By the way, I had published this video in 2019. So 4 years later, people are still watching. To take it a step further, I had mentioned inside of that video that there was an online car insurance marketplace where you could upload your policy and very quickly compare rates with the exact same coverage. And so at that time it was Gabby. It's since been bought out by Experian. So I casually mentioned Gabby within this video. Now, because it changed hands and the affiliate platforms changed, it was a little tricky to track exactly how much affiliate revenue I was earning, but this is pretty dang close. So over the past 3-4 years, I've earned over $23,744 in affiliate revenue, and altogether, this one video has earned me $40,000, which is kind of insane to say out loud, because as Elena was speaking about yesterday, is you throw something up on YouTube and then that's the one that performs really well. So your next two ways are definitely YouTube ad revenue. I don't take that lightly. And affiliates. Now, I didn't make that video with the intent on focusing on Gabby or focusing on Experian. I was focused on my story. So how can you infuse your story and then think, how can I also incorporate some revenue streams that complement that story? I started budgeting in 2012. That was really the year that I got up and running on paying down my student loan debt. So this is a screenshot of the very first budget that I had ever created for myself. In the yellow, that was my take-home pay, just over $2,000 of take-home. And when I was paying down that student loan debt, at one point I was putting over $1,000 per month towards the student loans. I was very, very intentional with my spending. And loved spreadsheets and thought, how can I take this spreadsheet and figure out a way for those who hate spreadsheets, but also need some guidance on how to manage their money? So I thought, why not pen and paper? I created this video called Budgeting for Beginners, and I thought, screw the spreadsheet, people get overwhelmed with formulas and calculators, so I said, let's just sit down at the kitchen table together. And so I wrote it out very plainly. Income minus expenses, what's left over. If you're negative, that's bad. Let's work some things out, and using subcategories to really help people figure out exactly how to categorize those expenses. So this video was actually published 2 years ago, and it's had over 750,000 views. It's earned me over 15,000 subscribers from this one video and over $14,000 in ad revenue. And this one was crazy because I saw that there were over 1,600 people watching it at the time that I took the screenshot. It was really funny. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I said, when I take these screenshots, it's almost like going into a movie theater while a movie is playing. You're late coming in, and there's a packed house. And it was almost as if I was walking into a movie theater and seeing everybody sitting and watching the movie. And I politely exit away and, okay, you guys watch that. That's amazing. As a result of these videos, it's really helped drive my email list and build that up. So this is a lifetime view of how many subscribers I have on my list. Currently, I have over 20,000 email subscribers. You'll see a blip in the beginning, and I looked at the data in the time of when I got that spike very early on, and it was actually correlating to the very first video and story that I was telling you about. And since then, it has grown. I always encourage my audience to, hey, if this is resonating with you, get started by downloading my budget toolkit. This is the exact same spreadsheet that I've been using since 2012 to track my income and expenses, what helped me pay off that debt. So always going back to my story and then infusing it into my email list and building that. So as I was growing the email list, I could then drive them to my paid workbook. This is my How to Control Your Spending workbook. It retails for the limited time offer is $29, retails for $57. It's earned over $15,000 since I started pitching this. Currently working on the email funnel with this one. But this was a really great way of utilizing YouTube to get people on my email list to start pitching the ebook. And by the way, this ebook has more than 55 pages of content. So what I do is I take a page from the workbook and I create a whole video on that one page. I could actually come up with 50 different videos, and always when I'm talking about the activities inside of that workbook, I start my video with, hey, we're going to be doing an activity from inside of my How to Control Your Spending workbook. You can get it for sale using the link below. We go through the content, I give away that content for free, and then at the end of the video, I say, if this is resonating, you can pick up the How to Control Your Spending workbook by using the link below. I always add those calls to action at the beginning and at the end. And so your fourth way is digital products. So coaching, YouTube ad revenue, affiliates, and digital products. When you take content on YouTube, you can also parse it down to Instagram Reels and TikToks. What was interesting the past couple of years is that Instagram was offering bonuses for content creators. This was kind of their way of paying creators for posting Reels. And so this one was when we were still trying to figure out whether the Biden administration was going to give a blanket $10,000 student loan forgiveness. We all know the end result of that. And so I was kind of making fun of it, of like, there's no way he's not going to do it. It actually received over 17,000 plays, and I qualified for the bonuses. And over time, as I was creating more reels as a result of what I was posting on YouTube, which was really easy, just take what I'm doing on YouTube and turn it into a reel, I earned over $1,000 on this platform. Now, IG ad revenue is one way. You could also look at other platforms outside of YouTube that are offering monetization. Next, I want to give you a peek inside my inbox. So, October 5th, about roughly 2 years ago, approximately, I received an email. And are there any other YouTube creators in the house? Okay, wow, about half. So I don't know about you, but I get sometimes little spammy emails coming into my inbox where they want to do a deal, but it's a weird name. And what always tips me off as a spammy email is the salutation inside. And so this one says, "Hello, Justine Nelson." And I thought, that's a little weird, using my full name, and who says hello anymore? I don't know. It just kind of threw me off. And it says, I wanted to reach out again, as I'm really hoping to make contact regarding a compensated chance to write a book. And I thought, reach out again. I had never seen another email from this person, so it kind of sparked my interest a little bit. I was hesitant, though. So we kind of go back and forth in some email exchanges, and they're telling me about an opportunity to write an investing book specifically for kids. And so a couple weeks goes by, I email and respond back and say, thank you so much for sharing information, really fun project to work on. I don't have experience working with this age group, investing for kids book. Just doesn't sound right. And then I also mentioned I have a 7-month-old daughter, and I want to teach her good money habits. So if there's other opportunities, maybe around high school, college, millennials, keep me in mind. A couple weeks goes by. They come back. Hey there, Justine. Hi there, Justine. Oh, okay. This is a real person. I hope all is well. Checking back in because there is a book that we want you to write for teens. This is great. Book a call, let's do it, let's talk about this. We want to pay you to write this book. And so guess what I did? I didn't respond back. And perhaps that was because I had mentioned I had a 7-month-old baby at the time, and perhaps that was taking up a little bit of my time and why that email got away from me in my inbox. But thank goodness this publishing house was tenacious, and this person was tenacious with me, because in February, later that next year, they reached out again, and they actually went back to the original concept, the kids' book. And so finally, I decided to work with them and actually published my first book last year, and I got to see in the hands of one of my readers at last year's FinCon. Thank you. It's sold over 6,700 copies at the time of that screenshot. And when I hopped on that initial call with that publishing house, I said, "How did you find me?" And they said, "We have a whole data team, research team that looks for first-time authors. And let's just say you're doing something really good with SEO." And I thought, well, I've not touched my blog with 10-foot pole in about 4 years. And I know that YouTube videos shows up on Google search. And so I saw the connections of what I was doing on YouTube, how I was presenting myself on video, and without a doubt, that helped me land that book deal. Don't forget that what you are doing, even if you think you're not getting the views, every time that you show up on camera, you show your personality. That is your character, and that can land you some really amazing, amazing projects. And speaking of projects, I was doing a lot of writing when I first started Debt Free Millennials. My background's in writing. And during the pandemic, there was actually a lot of work coming my way. we need to educate people about what to do with their stimulus checks. And what about emergency funds? And interest rates are at an all-time low. Those were the good days. And so I said yes to a lot of freelancing projects because I didn't know what was going to happen to my job either. So I ended up writing for various publications, the Money Manual, Freedom Debt Relief, Money Under 30, and The College Investor. Now, as I've worked on my zone of genius and what I really love to do, which we'll talk about in a second, I really saw me going more into the video creation space. And so I've since stepped away from the freelance writing and I've done more of the freelance video content creation, which has been really helpful for me as I can test out new things with my clients and also use that same skill set for my own business. So freelancing is your 7th opportunity to build your business to 100K. But back to my inbox, I got this subject line, Ryan Reynolds wants to work with you. Okay, well, yes, please. So I had this agency reach out to me on behalf of Mint Mobile, and Mint Mobile was interested in doing a 9-month campaign. 9 months? That is amazing. That was music to my ears. Anytime I see a long-term sponsorship deal come my way, ooh, yes, I'm jumping on that. And what really tipped me off was the 9-month partnership. They wanted to know my rates. They wanted me to sign an application form. And for the next 9 months, I acted as a spokesperson for Mint Mobile. I'd never used it before, hopped on the plan. That was part of the contract, was getting a Mint Mobile plan, walk the walk, talk the talk. Let me tell you, the partnership has since ended. I'm still using Mint Mobile. I really, really do enjoy the service, and it's something that I can tell my audience about. Mint Mobile, sponsor me again, please. So this campaign was actually on Instagram, interestingly, and not on YouTube. Even though I have a higher reach on YouTube, they really wanted to focus on Instagram Reels, which actually was fine by me because I had the video experience. I knew how to edit the pieces together. I could visualize and really be creative, which is my zone of genius. I was able to create multiple videos as part of this sponsorship. The Christmas one gets me every time, so if you're interested, definitely scroll through my reels on Instagram and you'll see them. Speaking of sponsorships, how many of you are interested in securing a sponsorship deal? Okay, yeah, great. About maybe 30% or so. So I have a couple of tips for you as I've been growing this part of my business. The first is to save reels and YouTube videos where you see a creator showcasing a sponsorship. I'll show you how to do that. The second advice I have for you is to use the Clearbit extension, specifically for Gmail, Google Chrome, to find email addresses. I'm going to show you how to do that so that you can find the right person to talk to about those sponsorship deals. So inside of Instagram, you're going to search for hashtag sponsored or hashtag ads, hashtag sponsorship, whatever it is. Follow that hashtag, and then as it comes up on your feed, if you're seeing a creator with that hashtag, with a brand that you're also interested in, I advise you to save it in a private collection on your Instagram profile. Nobody can see this but you. And now you can start a collection of, I've labeled mine, possible sponsors. Even if they're bigger than you, it doesn't matter. They're paying creators to get their brands out there. And I think it's a really, really easy way to start making that short list of brands that you want to work with. On YouTube, you'll oftentimes see when somebody is doing a paid sponsorship, a little paid promotion tag up in the left-hand corner of the video when it first starts. And many times the creators will create a pinned comment with a link to that sponsored brand. So this one was from Jessica Braun, and she said, thank you to Ritual for sponsoring this video. And so that was my dead giveaway, that Ritual was paying her to create this video. And so now I can save this in a private playlist and refer back to it, or create my short list in my own project management systems. Similarly, Hey Shayla was talking about BetterHelp and talking about getting 10% off of BetterHelp, and I saw that as an opportunity to also reach out to BetterHelp and see if they'd like to work with Debt Free Millennials. Going back to the Clearbit extension, this thing is gold, it's free. So what you're going to do is go to Clearbit, connect, you're gonna download the extension, you're gonna link it to your Gmail account. It's gonna pop up as that little blue icon. Your first step is you're gonna click on Find Email Addresses. Step 2, you're gonna search for the company. In this example, I did Capital One. Next, you're going to find a person in a specific department. This one, I went for marketing. Almost all times you're gonna look for marketing if you're trying to find somebody who does sponsorship, influencer, content marketing. And then you're going to find the right person. Benjamin Friedson, VP of Social Media and Content Marketing. Sorry, Benjamin, we're all gonna come after you now. This is such a great way to find the right person to talk to about working together. So to continue that, once you find that right person, you're going to start with the subject line that I have personally used that actually got me a response back and got me a paid sponsorship. So feel free to copy paste. The subject line is, hi, name. We know the name because we just used Clearbit to look it up. Hi, Benjamin. YouTuber interested in promoting insert brand name, Capital One. Use it, test it, and tell me if it works for you. The key here is to keep the email short and use images. My friend Andy Hill of Marriage, Kids, and Money, are you back there? I don't know if Andy's here. He actually gave me the tip of including screenshots inside of the email. Hey, my audience was telling me about you. This seems like really great stuff. And ending it with a call to action of, could you point me to the right person to speak to about this? He calls it the lost puppy syndrome. Can you help me? A lot of people want to help, and that email does not come across as transactional. It comes across as relational. We want to build relationships first and show that, hey, I really do like your product. I really do like your service. Let's have a conversation about it. So your 8th is through sponsorships. Okay, now let's take a peek behind my revenue streams. I'm all about transparency on my channel and here. So in 2020, whoa, freelancing took up a big piece of the pie. 65%. Affiliate marketing was really exploding at that time, and a little bit to YouTube revenue, speaking, coaching, and digital products. In 2021, freelancing shifted a little bit as YouTube revenue was really increasing for me, and then I started to really dip my toe into sponsorships, and so I had 6% of my revenue going to sponsorships that year, and 15, almost 16% to affiliate marketing. Last year, it continues to shift, and I'll explain this here in the next slide. But about 45% went to freelancing, 26% to YouTube ad revenue, and 16% to sponsorships. And so you can start to see the shift. So what's the explanation for the shift? I recently read this book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. Has anybody read it? Amazing book. If you don't want to read it, it basically boils down to this question. What is the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be either easier or unnecessary? I also read a book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Amazing book. Talked about working in your zone of excellence, the things that you're really, really good at doing, but not as fulfilling, versus your zone of genius. This is the thing that you could do for hours, and it's like no time has passed. And so as I was thinking about all of the revenue streams and the YouTube channel, what was my one thing? This year, it's been my one-on-one coaching program. I delight in working with clients and seeing that transformation. I literally get goosebumps. I get emotional when I see the wins when I'm working one-on-one with somebody. And so for you, I encourage you to think about what is that one thing for you that you're wanting to work on. Even if it's not specifically YouTube related, my one-on-one coaching program isn't YouTube, but I use YouTube as a means to bring people in, to call them in. All right, let's talk about getting comfy on camera. I have a couple of tips for you. First is repetition. I think yesterday somebody was saying they're really good at live speaking, but they don't like being in front of the camera. And for me, when I was starting out, I would just record myself with no intent to put it up on YouTube or publish it, just so that I could get that feeling of just having a camera, like this camera right here. I keep looking at it because that's my comfort now. That's my comfort. I can look at the camera because I've been doing it over and over again. Speaking to you all live is definitely outside of my comfort zone. But the more you do it, the better that you get. So consistency. If you're really wanting to use YouTube to jumpstart your business and build it to 6 figures and beyond, consistently posting at least minimum once per week. Ideally, we're looking about 2 to 3 times per week. I post twice a week. Lately, not so much, as I've been focusing on my one thing. It's been very hard for me to let go of my YouTube schedule. I'm getting back into it now that my coaching program is consistent and working. I also have a dedicated film day. I actually have dedicated days for different parts of my filming process. Having a dedicated film day has helped me so much. I batch film my content. Typically, I'm doing about 2 to 3 videos in one day. So I'm coming up with the ideas on Monday, I'm scripting it on Tuesday, I'm filming 3 videos on Wednesday, I'm uploading it all to my editing team on Thursday. I also have a pre-production routine. I want to make sure that I'm camera ready. I want my hair done, my makeup done, I want a nice outfit, I want to be freshly showered and freshly caffeinated. That's how I know that energy is going to show up on screen. And that's how I like to prepare myself so that I'm always engaging and coming across with lots of high energy. So speaking of the live speaking versus recording on camera, it's no accident that the YouTube videos that I've been posting have landed me a spot speaking with you today, as it did last year, and it's inspired me to continue on the path of doing more public speaking and corporate and organizational work. This past summer, I was certified in a vocal empowerment program with a speaking coach right here with Alexia Vernon. Absolutely has been a game changer for me as I'm thinking about how can I use the skills that I've harnessed using YouTube and filming my videos, and how can I bring that into more corporate organizational work where I'm talking about personal finance in the workplace. So 9 is speaking, 10 corporate gigs. These are 2 areas of my business that I'm now shifting to. And so you can see as things are moving, your direction and what you're focused on moves as well. And I'll leave this slide up at the end as well. The comments that I get time and time again when I post a video or I'm working with a client one-on-one is, why Debt Free Millennials? Why me? And I always get these 3 comments. I've been following your channel for a really long time. And that always I don't know why that surprises me, but it does, because you're thinking, well, they're just numbers. You don't really see the human beings watching and absorbing that information. So I've watched a ton of your videos, and I love your approach to personal finance because it's so relatable. There's many of us out here, but only you have your own unique story to tell. This is not a pretty picture of me, but I decided to include it because I want to be vulnerable with you today, just as I am on camera. These are happy tears. I had been crying. I had recently worked with Belinda Rosenblum, who was speaking on Thursday, And she had really helped me fine-tune my one-on-one coaching program. And to be frank with you, I was severely undercharging for this program. I was offering it at $350 for 3 months, and that included 3 monthly calls. And she encouraged me to really elevate that up to a $1,000 coaching program, and what would that look like? So I actually got on a sales call with one of my leads who had been following the channel, and she had talked to me, and it was a really great conversation. We got deep, and I thought, okay, I think she's gonna do it, but I don't know. At the time, I was recording a voice memo on my phone because I wanted to listen back to that sales conversation to see how I could tweak my language so that I could get better at those sales calls for the next time. Sales was very scary to me for a very long time. I still get kind of butterflies. And what I know is true is that after this call, I forgot that I was still recording and actually recorded my reaction of seeing the $997 payment come through. And I want to share that clip of the recording with you. Let me see if I can get closer to it.
I just got my first $997 paid in full payment for...
Oh no! This was gonna be the moment where you cry with me. Let's see if PowerPoint will decide to open up again. I promise it's good. You're gonna cry with me. You're gonna cry with me. Okay. Play from current slide. Stay with me, y'all. It's gonna be good.
Let's see if I can take this off real quick.
Okay.
This is still recording. Oh my God. I just got my first $997 paid in full payment for my coaching program. My gosh. I am so incredibly honored to be working with this client. She trusted me. She was vulnerable with me. She is just so incredible. I'm so happy to be walking hand in hand with her. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Clearly, I was very, very emotional. Because you don't realize until you get on those calls, you don't realize that you're impacting people's lives until you're meeting with them one-on-one. I don't take that responsibility lightly. And I hope you don't either, because what you're saying and doing and posting on the internet is actually really impacting people's lives. And so I want you to think about the things that you're doing on YouTube and how you can relate that into those revenue streams, because I don't want you just stopping at 6 figures, at the 100K mark. I don't want that for myself. I want to continue to grow. And I know when I am working on my storytelling, I'm getting more comfortable speaking on camera, I'm actually talking to my audience live, that's where the biggest shift in my business occurs. These are just 10 ways. There's more, there's less. You do not by any means have to take all of these things. I certainly don't, not at this point. You're going to be shifting that focus constantly. So what questions can I answer for you? In the back, yes. What's the difference between speaking and corporate gigs? Speaking to me is doing more conference and events. Corporate gigs would actually be working with an organization, going in and offering half-day, full-day, two-day experiences where I'm actually leading them in through workshops as it relates to personal finance. The speaking would be more one-off talks for one-off events. Yes?
Great presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
In regards to your Thursday, you said that you upload your YouTube videos to your editing team. Walk us through who's your editing team and how does that work?
Yeah, I use an editing team called editvideo.io. I've been working with them for 2 years now. They've been really amazing. Basically, it's just talking head, text on screen, graphics on screen. If I want B-roll, I'll include that or give them direction on that. It's been a really great partnership because it's something that I can pass off very easily. And I'm happy to share that with you at the end of the presentation. You're welcome. Yes?
Is there a way to narrow your search on the sponsorship, so hashtag sponsor, narrow it by niche or even company?
That's a good question because I was trying to figure out if there was a way that I could follow 2 hashtags in one reel, and I haven't figured out that part. I know that there are some hashtags that use, for example, if you want to look for a specific company, it would be hashtag Mint Mobile ad. I don't know if Mint Mobile, for example, I don't know if they're actually doing that. So I would love to learn more about that because I haven't been able to find that other than just the hashtag sponsorship. Yes, in the front.
Do you find that a certain length of videos perform better than others?
Yeah, definitely 8 minutes at minimum. I think the other woman yesterday was talking about that's because you can get that mid-roll ad so that you can increase your ad revenue. Typically, I'm seeing the duration around like 7 minutes. It really just depends. I have actually a lot of long-form videos where my husband and I do a monthly budgeting series called Beers and Budgeting because I couldn't get him to come do the budget with me unless we had a really tasty craft beer. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like craft beers too, so it's actually really fun for us to do together at the kitchen table. Our subscribers love coming back for that video every single month, and those are typically around 25 minutes, and people watch the entire time. So I find that that particular series performs really well. You're welcome. Yes, right here in the corner.
You started with the YouTube and doing the videos and tell your journey, and most of your revenue talk about coaching, freelancing, all the areas, but you still go back to have your coaching there. It's not your main focus, but still there. So how do you, a lot of people say, oh, you want to escalate, go big, go like make a lot of money, but you still have your coaching. How do you feel that is necessary to have instead of like just escalate, go big?
Okay, say that question one more time. How am I using my coaching program?
Yes, because like you have your YouTube, you have the freelance, you have all these other areas of income, but always your coaching is a small portion.
Right. Got it. Yeah, so, and the reason why is because it was such a small price point. The offering was just severely undervalued. Once I started to increase the price, revamp the offer, now that's become my shift and my focus. So the revenue streams from the past 3 years, and the coaching was such a small slice, is because I was actually resenting selling that program. And I wasn't actively engaging my email list and telling people I was not doing sales calls at all during that time. Once I revamped the offer, I increased the price. I was real excited about it, and I was really intentional about getting people on the phone, and I absolutely see the coaching become a bigger piece of the pie for next year. Yes, here in the front?
Justine, you're an awesome storyteller.
Oh, thank you.
What are some resources that you can share about becoming a better storyteller?
Ooh, okay. There's a great book called Talk Like TED by Camille Gallo. Gallo. And he has nine secrets of the best TEDx speakers, TED speakers. It's amazing. Once I read that book and realized what speakers at TED were doing, which was like 90% of their presentations was storytelling and a little bit about facts and figures, I thought, well, I want to do that. So that was helpful. Yes, Lisa?
You have a lot of resources given email list. I'm wondering, how are you getting people to the resources? Is it your YouTube description or?
Yes. Yeah. So from YouTube, I'm always pointing to my lead magnet or the workbook, or sometimes I will say the coaching program. If you are enjoying this, if you want to go deeper with your finances and you feel that you need accountability, check out my coaching program. And I'll typically leave a link to the sales page there.
So do you only pick one call to action?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes, in the back.
How did you get past kind of the thumbnail thing with the emotions? That sounds like kind of scary, the different emotive faces that follow with the title. Like, were you always comfortable with like putting your different emotive faces on your thumbnails? Or?
Yeah, I have a thumbnail guy. I can give you his email address if you would like after this. And he kind of picks what works best, and I just try not to cringe if I'm making a silly face, but it works. Up here.
What's the first video you showed about you telling your story?
Yeah.
Kind of flat for months between like January, February until whenever. What sparked it to go up?
I have no idea. It felt very random. I know that's not a really good answer, but it may have been the title. It may have been just the amount of people watching, the duration of how long people were watching that really helped YouTube flag it and pull it up, show it to more people. Did you have a question?
Yes. How did you come up with or decide on your rates when you got the offer from Mint to work with Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, I worked with a brand agent who helped me with the rates. If you're seeing a theme, pricing has been kind of a limiting money belief for me, and I've been working on that this past year, to be transparent. But having somebody else outside give me perspective, like her, my business coach, they're like, Justine, you're worth it, and they really helped me raise the rates. Yes, right there.
How long has Debt Free Millennials been your main business? Like, when did you stop as a W-2 employee?
I've been with Debt Free Millennials since I started it in 2017. Prior to that, I was a marketing contractor consultant, was kind of doing my own business with that too. So the last corporate job that I had was in 2015. And then did DFM in 2017, didn't start taking YouTube seriously until 2018, 2019. You had a question here?
Like with your first digital product, like would you like recommend like going free or like what's your kind of thoughts on that?
I recommend definitely having a freebie, a lead magnet, an opt-in, those words are interchangeable, to get people on your email list, and then have a low entry product that's like a $17, $27 product. Typically it's an ebook. That's what's coming to mind right now. And so then you can drip it from the free to the low to the mid-tier offer to your high ticket offer. You had a question here?
So you didn't finish the story. Did you actually get to meet Ryan Reynolds and work with him?
No, I did not get to meet Ryan, which was such a bummer. He did send me a Christmas card though, so. Yes.
So you mentioned, my question was going to be what sort of team you have, and every question you've answered with, I have this guy. I'm particularly interested in a business coach. Like did you start this before having a business coach, and how transformational was that? Was that like a wake-up call?
Yes.
Or like why did I do this kind of thing?
I love this question. I feel like I could do a whole talk on just mentorship and coaches for content creators. I was ignoring all of that. I had not hired any kind of mentorship basically since I started DFM, and then it wasn't until this year that I saw that I was plateauing with my revenue, and I thought, how can I break into the next level? And so I ended up hiring a brand strategist, my public speaking coach, and a business coach all this year. It was a lot of money going back into the business, and so I was like, this feels tight. As we're getting, going into Q4 though, I've seen it pay off. That landed, a bigger contract, bigger deals, and so now it's kind of working. I think it just kind of organically happens, and what I know is you can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. Yeah.
You talk about a lot about storytelling, and we're like all also like the personal finance space. We're teaching and coaching people to do better. Do you feel like all of your content has storytelling in it? And then like if it doesn't, like or is there some that's just like get to the basics of like this is how you do something?
Yeah.
Do one performs better, or do you inject storytelling to everything, or what?
I try to inject, so he was asking, do you do storytelling videos versus how-to, or do you just get down into the education part of it? And both. The one where I was showing the budget on the notebook, obviously that's how-to, but in the beginning I talk about my own journey with budgeting, and so I try to infuse, even if it's just a short story of 60 seconds or 30 seconds, it helps sell the how-to and it gets them committed, in my opinion. Yes, back here.
Hi, my name is Travis West. I'm here with a couple of investments. We're working real estate and we're trying to get into this whole world. So the question I have for you, and I noticed you do it quite subtly. How did you identify that this was the suite of things that were actually going to work for you? And how did you use data to actually explore these different revenue lines?
Ooh, that's such a good question. I really just worked on what I felt was fun to do. The coaching was fun for me to do. I really loved that, but I wasn't making any money on it. So I tried to figure out how can I rework this. Obviously, the business coach helped me with that. What else was your question? How did I use data to focus on the right revenue stream? Got it. So in terms of YouTube analytics, I could see which videos were performing high, like my debt-free journey. And then I could use that story to help build out, and I should probably add this to my list, build out more storytelling related to that and build people or move people into the coaching program, because I already see that one performs really high. Also the budgeting one where I'm at the pen and paper, I've been thinking about creating a paid budget template that has more charts, formulas, calculators, and maybe doing that as like a low entry product, like $7 or something, because people love the budgeting stuff, and I got close to 1 million views on that video. So actually you're planting seeds in my head right now, so it's really good. Do we still have time for more questions, or do we have to scoot? I feel like we're pretty much out of time. I'll take this last question, and then if you have more questions, you can come up to the front. We'll talk about it.
You talked about sponsorship. So my question is, how do you stay authentic where your viewers actually trust the content you're putting out there and you're going to sponsor posts?
Yeah, well, all of the brand deals that I've worked so far, I believe in it. What Mint Mobile, I wasn't using Mint Mobile before, so it was really nice that was part of the contract, was to actually sign on and be a Mint Mobile customer. Whenever I'm working with a brand that maybe I haven't used or don't need to use, I think about when I was maybe 2 steps back to where I'm at now and think, how can my audience benefit from this? Is this something that I feel like at one point I could have used in the past? So that's how I keep it relational and make sure that I'm always selling from a place of heart and making sure that the brand deals actually match and align with my values.
So do you filter out potential sponsors based on that, saying, is it something I would actually use? Do I want to see this?
Yeah. I've definitely turned down deals where I'm like, I don't know this, or like this has gotten bad reviews, or I don't think this product is quite ready yet for me to back. So I do take a look at that and will turn down brands that I don't feel are in alignment. Thank you all so much for coming.